In the past few years, police reforms have gained significant momentum following the infusion of National Police Service, its objects and functions in the Constitution of Kenya. These milestones have led to institutionalization of various reforms in the service, and this has resolved historical systemic issues, ensuring that police aligns with our democratic principles and constitutional standards. Police reforms in our recent past has become a focus of accountability, service ethics, and restoring public confidence, breaking away from the outdated colonial legacies. Article 244 of the Constitution of Kenya mandates the National Police Service to strive for the highest standards of professionalism and discipline among its members. Progressive police reforms globally aim to enhance public safety, improve public and community relations, and strengthen accountability. The Constitution further obligates the National Police to comply with the constitutional standards of human rights and fundamental freedoms. The servicemen and women are required to be trained to the highest possible standards and competence and integrity to respect human rights, fundamental freedoms, and dignity. Undoubtedly, the officers have committed themselves to their professional duty, and we have a tremendous improvement of policing in our country today because of these continuous reforms. We therefore applaud the personnel that have committed themselves to constitutional obligation of ensuring highest standards of professionalism and discipline. We condole with the families of those officers who have lost their lives in the line of duty. Regrettably, in the last 10 years, we have lost over 600 police officers directly in the line of duty while working to secure our country, to combat crime, and in enforcement of law and order, including during public protests. The strength and sustained growth of our nation could not have been possible without the brave, selfless, and dedicated service of our gallant security officers. Their commitment and sacrifice have been instrumental in ensuring the safety and stability we enjoy today. Nevertheless, we continue to face immense challenges in our pursuit of ideals enshrined in Article 244 of our Constitution. These challenges compel us to relentlessly strive for legal, institutional, and constitutional reforms aimed at enhancing the quality and the effectiveness of our police service. The Kriegler report laid a foundation towards police reforms in Kenya. Unfortunately, despite this well-intentioned framework and constitutional backing, meaningful reforms have stalled. Key challenges such as the limited operational independence, inadequate resourcing, and increased cases of police brutality and impunity have reversed much of the initial gain. As such, the promises and ideals of Kriegler report remain largely unfulfilled, even as public demand for a reformed, accountable, and rights-respecting police service continues to intensify. Upon assuming office in 2022, the President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency Dr. William good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you very much. I'm going to be making a statement and then take a few questions on the state of the police reforms in Kenya. In the past few years, police reforms have gained significant momentum following the infusion of National Police Service, its objects and functions in the Constitution of Kenya. These milestones have led to institutionalization of various reforms in the service, and this has resolved historical systemic issues, ensuring that police aligns with our democratic principles and constitutional standards. Police reforms in our recent past has become a focus of accountability, service ethics, and restoring public confidence, breaking away from the outdated colonial legacies. Article 244 of the Constitution of Kenya mandates the National Police Service to strive for the highest standards of professionalism and discipline among its members. Progressive police reforms globally aim to enhance public safety, improve public and community relations, and strengthen accountability. The Constitution further obligates the National Police to comply with the constitutional standards of human rights and fundamental freedoms. The servicemen and women are required to be trained to the highest possible standards and competence and integrity to respect human rights, fundamental freedoms, and dignity. Undoubtedly, the officers have committed themselves to their professional duty, and we have a tremendous improvement of policing in our country today because of these continuous reforms. We therefore applaud the personnel that have committed themselves to constitutional obligation of ensuring highest standards of professionalism and discipline. We condole with the families of those officers who have lost their lives in the line of duty. Regrettably, in the last 10 years, we have lost over 600 police officers directly in the line of duty while working to secure our country, to combat crime, and in enforcement of law and order, including during public protests. The strength and sustained growth of our nation could not have been possible without the brave, selfless, and dedicated service of our gallant security officers. Their commitment and sacrifice have been instrumental in ensuring the safety and stability we enjoy today. Nevertheless, we continue to face immense challenges in our pursuit of ideals enshrined in Article 244 of our Constitution. These challenges compel us to relentlessly strive for legal, institutional, and constitutional reforms aimed at enhancing the quality and the effectiveness of our police service. The Kriegler report laid a foundation towards police reforms in Kenya. Unfortunately, despite this well-intentioned framework and constitutional backing, meaningful reforms have stalled. Key challenges such as the limited operational independence, inadequate resourcing, and increased cases of police brutality and impunity have reversed much of the initial gain. As such, the promise to look into critical reforms in the National Police Service, Kenya Prisons, and National Youth Service. The task force dutifully pointed to the need for several administrative, policy, and legislative reforms. Subsequently, on the 7th of March 2025, His Excellency the President entered a memorandum of understanding with the former Prime Minister, Right Honorable Raila Odinga, to promote and protect the livelihoods of young people and to guarantee the right to peaceful assembly and protest as provided for under Article 37 of our Constitution. It's against this high-level commitment that the Ministry is intensifying efforts to implement relevant policy and legal reforms aimed at fully realizing the ideals and aspirations espoused in the task force report and the memorandum. These reforms also come at the backdrop of President's decision to ensure, for the first time in the history of Kenya, that the National Police Service operates independently with its independent accounting officer. To further pursuit of recommendations made by the task force, a technical committee on review and development of administrative, policy, and legislative reforms was formed on the 23rd of August 2024. The technical committee, through the various joint secretaries, held consultative forums with the primary stakeholders. Through these consultations and the proposals submitted to the committee, the following draft bills and new legislation were deployed. The National Police Service Commission Act Amendment Bill to provide for a more robust and independent police commission. The National Police Service Act Amendment Bill to provide for improved working conditions, salaries, terms of service of the police officers. Further, to address issues of political interference, corruption, inadequate training, and structural challenges within the service. 3, Independent Policing Oversight Authority Amendment Bill to provide for further legislative framework, strengthening of IPOA to undertake its constitutional mandate. And then 4, the National Youth Service Amendment Bill to address wider strengthening of NYS with respect to logistical mobility and equipment. 5, Public Order Act Amendment Bill to provide for better management and enforcement of public law and order in the exercise of right of assembly, demonstrations, picketing, and petition under Article 37 of the Constitution. The National Forensic Science Laboratory Authority Bill to provide for further support on the modernization efforts, including establishment of a National Forensic Laboratory to create 10 specialized units to handle different aspects of forensic science. The National Police Service Veterans and Fallen Heroes Bill to address various aspects of welfare of the veterans and the support system for families of the fallen soldiers. All these bills are in the final stage before they can be presented before Cabinet and then tabled in National Assembly and the Senate. As highlighted, it was not always the norm for the police that the police were held accountable for the actions in extrajudicial cases of police brutality. Post the 2010 Constitution, we have had remarkable accountability framework that have led to the punishment of police officers, such as in a William Kimani murder in 2016, where 3 police officers were convicted of death for the murder of human rights lawyer Willie Kimani, his client Josephat Mwendwa, and their driver Joseph Mwiruri. B, Baby Samantha Pendo case of 2017, where 4 police officers were charged with the murder of 6-month-old baby Samantha Pendo, who was killed during post-election protests in Kisumu in 2017. 3, Martin Koome murder of 2013, where police officer at the rank of an OCS was found guilty and sentenced to death for torturing a suspect to death inside a cell. Among many other instances that the police have been dealt with, family for breach of law and the Constitution. Although we have experienced worse incidents in the past, the progressive nature of our law and policy will soon make such occurrences rare in our country. Incidents such as bodies being dumped in Yala River, the case of Indian nationals killed in a container at police station, cases of abductions, incarcerations, detention without trial, and recently the death of Mr. Albert Ojwang while in the hands of police, among others, must be punished by law, and those involved will soon be held accountable. Globally, countries have made significant strides in attaining police reforms. Instances such as public outcry, social movements, and specific instances of violence or misconduct have led to significant and relatable scenarios of police reforms. As a government, we are duty-bound to uphold the highest possible standards in safeguarding the security, formulating priority areas of reform and enforcement of law. Our goals remain delivery of professional, accountable, and citizen-centered policing that meets the aspirations of our Constitution. To realize these objectives, the Ministry of Interior and National Administration remains firmly committed to pursue policy and administrative reforms and of international best practices. Upon consultation in the aspiration of fulfillment of Constitution 4, I have today directed the implementation of the following policy reforms framework in the National Police Service. On CCTV surveillance. It shall be mandatory to equip police stations with CCTV surveillance to enhance transparency and accountability. All the police stations currently standing at 1,209 shall have CCTV surveillance within the next 2 years. We shall be making proposals to Parliament to enact laws that criminalize tampering with CCTV cameras. The surveillance system shall be in the custody of the officer commanding station, and the said officer shall be required to ensure that the system is always functioning, and instances of fault, it shall be reported within 1 hour through the established chain of command. The CCTV shall have an external backup system. It's important for Kenyans to know that the current stations that have CCTVs are not CCTVs that are sanctioned fully by the National Police Service. It was the initiative of the individual police station, 9 police stations, identify areas for improvement. Working together with civil society, religious leaders, and other stakeholders, we shall ensure regular audits and evaluation with awards to the best police officers, police stations, among others. We are creating systems that evaluate officers' performance based not just on enforcement metric, but also community relations and adherence to requisite ethical standards. This framework shall establish both the criteria for reward and sanction of respective police officers. 5, training and education. I have directed the establishment of continuous professional development training on all officers beginning with the OCSs, who shall be required to undertake minimum training annually on set of constitutional standards of the National Police Service as shall be developed in the curriculum. This marks the first step in restoring professionalism, discipline, and service excellence across all ranks. To achieve this, we shall work closely with the National Treasury and Parliament to ensure adequate resources are allocated. It is unfortunate that whenever budget cuts strike, training is often the first casualty. We are also forging partnership with development partners, public benefit organizations, and other stakeholders to sustain this initiative. In our upcoming police recruitment drive, we shall include a specific cadre of specialized officers to infuse fresh talent, professionalism, and modern policing standards throughout the service. All these reforms will be centralized for oversight and implementation at every police station, directly under the responsibility of the officer commanding station. It is important to note that in the command and structure of police service, the OCS is the ultimate officer in charge of all activities related to enforcement of law and order at the police station. All the other superior structures exist for the coordination and command of the National Police Service. It is therefore our intention to implement, monitor, and evaluate aforementioned reforms of the police station. Our intention is to make our police stations centers of excellence. It's important for all of us to know as Kenyans that just the way we say in elections, the polling station is the final place of voting. The police station is the final station of reporting any crime in the National Police Service, and therefore, every person, including senior officers, even the minister, everybody else has to always go back to a police station, and therefore, we want to make the police stations to become the center of excellence. We shall make the respective budgetary adjustments to prioritize these reforms among other modernization strategies in the forthcoming and subsequent financial years. We shall also pitch for support of these priorities from our development partners to ensure efficient and effective implementation of these reforms. As we relentlessly advocate for appropriate conduct by the police, there must be a reciprocal emphasis on the responsibility of citizens to show respect towards police officers as they discharge their lawful duties. Just as police officers are held accountable and subjected to public scrutiny, citizens too must accept that their actions are not beyond reproach. We are extremely concerned by the increasing instances where police officers have come under unwarranted attacks while executing their lawful duties. These challenges must not be ignored, and they point to a broader need to foster mutual understanding, accountability, and respect between the police and the public. In some instances, the nation has watched in disbelief as individuals forcefully entered protected areas such as parliament and police stations, with incidences such as burning police vehicles and destruction of government installations. Equally alarming are cases involving mob justice, acts of banditry, and illegal possession and public display of firearms. Such acts not only threaten national security, but also undermine rule of law. In conclusion, I wish to give my highest assurance that the Ministry of Interior and National Administration, working in concert with other government agencies and in close collaboration with the people of Kenya, will continue to pursue and implement the much-needed reforms within the security sector. This process will be progressive and guided by the constitutional values, best practices, and the unwavering pursuit of justice and professionalism. I thank you. Are there any questions? Yes. We shall, for all the questions, please name and maybe the media house you represent.
Okay. My name is Sidney Chazima from TV47. And my question goes to what you just mentioned right now. You say that even the most highest ranking police officer has to report to a police station if there is something, even a complaint. In the run-up to the death of Albert Ojwang, we've heard that the DIG Lagat had a complaint about it. We would like to know which police station you reported to, if there's an OB, and if it is the DCI, was it documented or just a word of mouth? Then, secondly, what was the complaint about? You have not been able to trace the comment or even screenshot of what Albert was being accused of. And finally, I've asked if there's an inventory of how many tenders of weapons that the government has entered into since 2023. Now that there's a complaint that weapons from Kenya have made their way to neighboring countries. Thank you.
So just take one question from each so that you allow others to ask questions.
Yes, I will take 3 questions at a go.
Jina langu ni Laban Shabani kutoka NTV. Bwana Waziri, umetaja kwamba pia maafisa wa polisi wamefariki wakiwa kazini. Lipo suala la wajane wakifuata pensheni. Kwa hivyo yapo malalamishi kuhusu wajane wa maafisa wa polisi ambao wamekwisha fariki ama wamekwisha staafu ambao wanafuata pensheni ila hawapati. Asante.
Yes.
Good afternoon, Waziri. My name is Stephen Leto from Citizen TV. My question goes to the CCTV installation to over 1,000 police stations across the country. What is the financial implication that you are looking at? And if we are talking of development partners, who are these development partners that you want to, delegate a primary duty of installing CCTVs in the police stations in the country? Thank you.
Let me start with on the issue of on record in the Senate, and therefore because of the advancement of the investigations, I'd rather leave it to that position. On the issue of On the question of tender for security, I think first of all, as the Republic of Kenya, we cannot stand here or at the ministry or even IG. You will never get that information you are looking for, where you stand and come and say, we have this number of ammunitions or we have this number of this. It's not possible for any country in the world to go and announce this publicly to any person because that is a highly classified security issue. However, I know where you are going. Your question was related to what was in the media about munitions and issues of other countries. I think my responsibility is issues related to internal security. That's why it's called Minister of Interior. So I have my responsibilities only confined to issues that are related to security in our country. Other issues that are happening between Kenya and neighboring countries or other parts of the country are better addressed through foreign affairs, not internal issues. I'm confined within the boundaries of our country insofar as issues of security is concerned. On the issue of swali nzuri limeulizwa na Laban kuhusiana na pensheni ya maaskari wetu. Ninajua ya kwamba kumekuwa na shida, si kwa upande wa askari peke yake, lakini public service wote wakijaribu kupata budget ya kuhakikisha inalipa mambo ya pensheni. Lakini uliposikia vile nilisoma, baadhi ya mabadiliko ama reforms ambayo tunafanya inahusikana na Veterans Bill. Nia yetu ni kuhakikisha kwamba through that Veterans Bill tutakuwa na njia mwafaka ya kuhakikisha kwamba wale wanaondoka kutoka ofisi wanalipwa haraka, na pia sio wenye wanaondoka peke yake, wale wanapoteza wapendo wao katika wakiwa kazini watakuwa wameshughulikiwa ipasavyo. Ndio unaona hiyo Veterans Bill ndio moja ya yale sheria ambayo nilisoma ambayo tunataka kupitisha ifikie bunge ili tukue na njia mwafaka ya kuhakikisha muda ambayo inahitajika kulipa pension na mambo mengine. Hata hivyo, kupitia bajeti ambayo National Police Service imepata, kumekuwa na bidii kwa upande wa National Police Service kujaribu kulipa wale ambao pension yao imekaa sana kadiri ya uwezo wao kupitia ile bajeti ambayo tumepewa na bunge. Kwa mambo ya financial implication, I want to say that we will leverage on the working relationship we have with the Ministry of ICT and with the support of also CAK, Communication Authority of Kenya. We are going to forge this partnership, which has been ongoing between us and these institutions, to see how we can install these CCTV cameras within the next 2 years. The ultimate budgetary allocation will be determined by the working partnership we have put in place. I need to say that we are not saying we are abdicating this responsibility to our development partners. And I am very clear in my mind that it is not the responsibility of the development partners to do so. It is us, but we leverage on the working partnership that are already existing. Some of the partnership are between us with the UNDP, which is already ongoing partnerships, between also us and the World Bank, between the government and the government of UK, and between the government and European Union. These are existing partnerships that are cut across ministries. But particularly for this ministry, we want to retrofit the programs that we have been having with them and see if we can urgently put some of the already committed resources towards making the police station a center of excellence and making it mandatory for all these police stations to have the CCTV cameras. I also needed to say that it is not just enough to talk about the CCTV. We are speaking about police stations that have very old infrastructure. Some of the police stations are actually colonial infrastructure. So it requires also building of the infrastructure itself. And again, through our Jukwaa la Usalama and our engagement with national government Constitutional Development Fund, we've been seeing ways of ensuring that we modernize most of these police stations, because you can also may want to put new ICT materials, the laptops, the CCTVs, and the Wi-Fi and so forth in an environment that has very old infrastructure or even barely existing infrastructure. Some of the police stations are Mabati police stations, and so forth. So we will want to, as we work on the accountability and transparency in the police stations, we want to ensure that we build on the infrastructure within the police station. The last three questions.
Yes, when I was saying my name is Steve Radio, there's been a clamor and push from a section of Kenyans for the DIG Lagat to step aside, and some are even threatening to put the street forms tomorrow. From where you sit, do you think that's the prudent path to take you to suppress the tension and the pressure of protest ahead of tomorrow? Thank you.
Mr. CS, my name is Winfrey Owino from KTN. You've mentioned digitization of occurrence books. And this is not something new. We actually heard of it first time in the previous regime. So what is the progress with what the previous regime had started? And what really is the update based on what you had told us before as the ministry?
Thank you. The last one, if any, and if none, then I appreciate.
Good afternoon. I'm Camila Lunani from K24. And I was asking, or many Kenyans are asking, when will this end? Like, when will the police brutality end? So that Kenyans can have trust in the police with their lives, with certain issues that they may be going through. Can we believe that the police will take care of us?
Thank you very much. First, let me say that on the question of the first question by Eric was in relation to the role of the DIG in the question of the issue to do with the murder of Mr. Albert Ojwang. I'd like to say that, and whether or not he should resign. I'd like to say that the investigations, as I've already said earlier, are going on with IPOA. IPOA is doing its part in terms of investigations. DIG Lagat is a seasoned police officer who understands what it takes to carry out matters of investigations and where or whether or not his conduct or act or position can affect that investigations. And I think we will cross the bridge when we reach there. When there is a closer relationship between the investigation that IPOA is doing and what he considers to be an interference, I think we will cross that bridge when we reach there. At the moment, let's leave the IPOA to do its part, but also the DIG himself to assess the extent of his involvement based on the investigations that are going, or his position vis-a-vis the investigations, and then make that decision when we cross there. I would not like to be the CS who will make that decision for him. It is important that that is achieved, the threshold of the investigations, where it is, and whether or not the DIG will see that his position or position in office is going to interfere with that investigation. I'm sure when that threshold is achieved, we will cross that bridge when we reach there. On the question of digitization of OB, this has been a long time promise, and I agree with you that it's been a promise from previous administration to now. We want to move it from promise to reality. And we know the reasons why this is serious is because if we have a digitized OB, it will help us to make sure that any reported incident can be tamper-proof. It can also be tracked to ensure that whether or not someone wanted to interfere or change the position of a particular reporting that was made. So we'll not have a situation where like we saw in the other incidents, that somebody had reported, there is allegations that the report was changed and so forth. So digitized occurrence book will really help us a great deal. And I have now given timeline. Maybe in the past there was no promise of timeline. I've given in the next 1 year, we would like to see a digitized occurrence book. And then lastly, Camila has asked a very important question. When will police brutality end? We would like to see that police brutality ends now. It is the duty of any right-thinking member of society, including our cabinet secretary and government, to see that police brutality ends immediately. Because it is not right that police stations, for example, or police officers who are expected to protect the citizens are brutalizing citizens. But as you know, reality on the ground is that this is an area that governments and countries all over the world have struggled with over time. Even the most advanced democracies, like the case of the US with the George Floyd a few years ago. But very conscious societies will ensure that when an incident happens like the one for Mr. Albert Ojwang, you don't, as unfortunate as it is, you don't allow that incident to be part of the statistics. It's also an opportunity for us to rise up and say, what else can we do? Like in the instance that we have proposed here, what else can we do to make the police station safe in respect and honor of those who have suffered, like the case of Albert Ojwang? That way, we can put meaningful, we can have meaningful results based on the otherwise negative and terrible incident. We can be able to turn around and say, so that doesn't happen to any other citizen, this is an opportunity again to up our game in terms of reform. But if you ask me, this is an area that is long overdue. But as I read in my statement, we've made significant improvement from 2010 when we promulgated our new constitution, and we can do even far much more. But I also need to ask our citizens that we need to support each other. We need to support the police officers. If you are, like the case that happened the other day, somebody's outrightly assaulting a police officer, insulting a police officer, provoking. You are holding a machete. You saw the case of Nakuru, someone having a panga and showing directly to the police officer. And we are all as Kenyans not enraged as if a police officer has shown or pointed a gun to a civilian. It should apply both ways. And I request you in the media, please stop profiling criminals and calling them protesters. I saw in one of the media houses the other day, somebody's announcing, saying, oh yeah, some of the protesters have burned vehicles, some of the protesters have looted. How do you still give them a constitutional status of Article 37? Protesters are expected to be civilized people who are making a statement, not the ones who are burning vehicles, looting shops, attacking civilians, throwing stones at the police officer, burning police vehicles. We have very few police vehicles, but many of them have been burned in this instance. Burning a police station, invading parliament. I am yet to see a media house that calls out all those who invaded parliament. In any civilized society in the world, anybody who invaded parliament would have been called a terrorist, straight, in many countries. But here in Kenya, we are still saying peaceful protesters invaded parliament. How can invasion and peaceful survive on one sentence? It must prick our conscience that, see, you've seen protests in other parts of the world, people marching peacefully along streets and making their statements. And that's why part of the law that we are proposing is to create an opportunity for public order, to give people the space to do protests in an environment that is peaceful and that is respect constitutional responsibility of every one of us. Asanteni sana, and God bless you. Thank you very much. Asante sana. Thank you.